Burnout. It's a term that's become almost ubiquitous in conversations about work, life, and well-being. But what does it really mean? And importantly, how is burnout different from the stress we all experience at different points in our lives? Many people believe that feeling tired, overloaded, or momentarily unmotivated is simply burnout, when in fact, burnout is much deeper, more persistent, and more complex than everyday stress. Understanding the distinction and the role that a sense of purpose plays in both preventing and overcoming burnout can be transformative. At its core, stress is a natural response. It's your body and mind reacting to a challenge, a deadline, a difficult situation. It can even be momentarily energizing, sharpening your focus and helping you push through. A certain amount of stress can be productive, a sign that you care about your work and responsibilities. However, when stress is chronic and left unaddressed, that's when the risk of burnout begins to grow. So, what exactly is burnout? Unlike stress, which is generally temporary and tied to specific circumstances, burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged and excessive stress. It doesn't just happen overnight. Instead, it creeps in gradually, often unnoticed until you reach a point where you feel completely drained, unable to cope, and devoid of motivation. But there's more to burnout than just feeling tired or overworked. It's a profound sense of disconnection from your work, from the people around you, and sometimes even from yourself. Burnout has distinct, well-documented symptoms. The first is emotional exhaustion, a sense that you have nothing left to give. Tasks that used to excite you now feel like monumental burdens. There's also depersonalization, a feeling of detachment or cynicism towards your work and the people you interact with. This might show up as irritability, numbness, or resentment. And finally, burnout manifests as a reduced sense of personal accomplishment. You may feel incompetent, unappreciated, or unable to achieve what once felt possible. Research shows that burnout is not limited to a specific profession or demographic. While it's commonly associated with high-stress fields like healthcare, teaching, or corporate jobs, it can affect anyone. Students, caregivers, entrepreneurs, even those volunteering in causes they care about deeply. Burnout is less about the number of hours worked and more about the quality of those hours, the level of control you feel over your work, and the sense of meaning you derive from your daily efforts. This brings us to a key concept: purpose. Purpose is the guiding star that informs why we do what we do. It is a sense of meaning, direction, and significance that goes beyond a paycheck or a to-do list. When we feel connected to a larger purpose, our days have structure, and even challenging tasks acquire a deeper value. Several studies suggest that a strong sense of purpose acts as a buffer against burnout. It does this in two primary ways. First, purpose provides motivation. When you believe your work matters, you are more likely to persevere through difficulties. The inevitable setbacks become learning opportunities, and effort feels worthwhile because it serves something greater than yourself. Without this sense of purpose, tasks that are repetitive, demanding, or seemingly meaningless become draining. Second, purpose fosters resilience. Life will always bring moments of stress, unpredictability, and disappointment. Purpose doesn't eliminate these difficulties, but it can help you process and recover from them. Challenges are reframed as part of a larger journey, not as insurmountable roadblocks. But what happens when you lose your sense of purpose? This is often when burnout strikes hardest. You may still put in the hours, meet expectations, and fulfill your obligations, but without a guiding purpose, these actions become mechanical. You feel disconnected from the impact of your efforts, unsure why you are doing what you do. Over time, this disconnect drains your energy and makes even simple tasks feel overwhelming. It's important to recognize that burnout is not a sign of weakness or a character flaw. It is often the result of systemic issues: overwork, lack of support, unclear expectations, or a toxic culture. But it is also a highly personal experience. The same environment might demotivate one person while inspiring another, depending on how their values and sense of purpose align with their circumstances. So, What can be done to address burnout, particularly when it is rooted in a loss of purpose? The first step is awareness. Many people brush aside the early signs of burnout, convincing themselves that a vacation, a weekend off, or simply persevering a little longer will solve the problem. While short breaks can provide temporary relief, they rarely address the underlying cause if you return to the same environment and mindset. Reconnecting with purpose often requires reflection. Ask yourself, why did I start this work in the first place? What aspects of my job or responsibilities bring me satisfaction or a sense of accomplishment? Are there ways to realign my daily actions with the values I care about? Sometimes, the answers may reveal surprising insights. Perhaps your role has shifted away from what originally inspired you, or perhaps you've taken on so many new tasks that the core of your work is buried under administrative burden. For some, rekindling purpose might come from seeking greater autonomy, new challenges, or learning opportunities. For others, it may involve setting boundaries, saying no to non-essential tasks, and focusing on what truly matters. Volunteering, mentoring, or engaging in creative projects outside of work can also provide a renewed sense of meaning. Workplaces, too, have a responsibility to prevent and address burnout. Organizations that cultivate a culture of transparency, empathy, and shared purpose tend to have lower rates of burnout. Simple steps like recognizing achievements, offering flexibility, and providing opportunities for growth can make a significant difference. Leaders who model vulnerability and openness about challenges and setbacks help foster an environment where employees feel safe to express concerns before they escalate into burnout. It's also essential to normalize conversations about mental health. Burnout thrives in silence. When people feel pressure to always appear strong, capable, and unfazed, they are less likely to seek help until the situation becomes dire. Normalizing these conversations reduces stigma and creates space for individuals to share their experiences and access support. Recovery from burnout takes time, and it often involves making tangible changes, not just to routines, but to underlying beliefs and expectations. It requires giving yourself permission to rest, to say no, and to prioritize your well-being. For some, this may involve significant life changes, a new job, a different career path, or a recommitment to passions that have fallen by the wayside. For others, small adjustments, creating more intentional breaks, setting clearer boundaries, or renegotiating workloads can make a profound difference. Developing habits that anchor you to your purpose is a powerful strategy. This can look like a daily reflection on what went well, or identifying a specific moment where you made a difference. It might involve writing a purpose statement, or simply checking in with yourself at regular intervals. When you act with intention, even small actions accumulate into a larger sense of progress and fulfillment. It's also helpful to cultivate relationships that support your sense of purpose. Surround yourself with people who encourage your growth, who share your values, and who remind you of what truly matters. Social connection is a potent antidote to burnout, both because it offers practical support and because it reminds us that our actions affect others in meaningful ways. Physical health is also tied to burnout and purpose. Chronic exhaustion and disconnection often lead to neglecting sleep, nutrition, and movement. Making space for physical activity, even in small doses, can restore energy and clarity of thought. Mindfulness practices, such as meditation or journaling, help ground you in the present and clarify the sources of your motivation and fatigue. Finally, remember that your purpose can evolve. What inspired you years ago may not be as meaningful today, and that's not a failure. It's a natural part of growth. Regularly re-examine your goals, passions, and values. Give yourself permission to change direction if your current path is no longer aligned with who you are or want to become. In summary, while stress is a temporary response that can often be managed with short-term solutions, burnout is a deep, persistent state characterized by exhaustion, cynicism, and a sense of diminished accomplishment. Burnout is not merely a personal failing. It is often a response to environments and expectations that are out of alignment with our values and limits. Purpose is the antidote that transforms work from a burden into a calling. By regularly reconnecting with your sense of purpose, setting boundaries, seeking support, and caring for your well-being, you can build resilience not just against burnout, but in the face of any challenge life presents. Remember, your work, whatever it may be, has value. But you, your health, and your happiness have value too. If you find yourself on the path towards burnout, know that recovery and renewal are possible, and sometimes all it takes is a gentle reminder of why you started in the first place.